I didn't have postpartum depression, but I did have what's called the baby blues. And every night I would start tearing up and I wouldn't be able to stop crying every single night. What's wrong? Like, are you okay? And I would say every time, he's only gonna be this little for so long. Hello guys, it's been a while. Obviously a lot has happened. I just wanted to pop on here and say hi. I'm doing really well. I'm alive, I'm kicking, I'm breathing. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I hope you weren't too worried. I've just been in the throes of motherhood and I'm here kind of to update you guys about all of that and yeah, just basically say hello. It's been 6 months. My son is turning 6 months this week. It is so crazy. He is here. You're not gonna see him in this video. I'm gonna make another one where you can meet him, but he's actually with my cousin who was also my maid of honor, one of my best friends, and he is loving life right now. This video is going to be a little bit more casual, just kind of talking about my thoughts of motherhood, a little bit of details about what I've been going through these past 6 months, and kind of my mindset for why I took an extended break, and also just well wishes for all of you and all of that good stuff. So I took 6 months. I was originally only gonna take 3 months. My husband had his 12 weeks of paternity leave. It was such a blessing to have his help. Like I can't believe people have to have their husbands go back after 2 days. Paternity leave, maternity leave, it's so important. It was honestly such a blessing because by the time he went back to work, I was physically healed. I was in the swing of things with motherhood, and Bodhi was kind of passing that newborn stage. And so everything was just evening out and it was really good. And I was gonna come back after that first 3 months, but then some things happened in our personal life, but then also no one really talks about this, but the 3 months after your baby's kind of like a newborn, you know, they're really coming alive to the world. They're becoming higher maintenance, they're harder to entertain, but they're also just so just lovely. And I just really wanted to soak up that time with him. I wanted to spend all my time with my baby. I didn't want to think about anything work related. I just craved that time with him because, you know, for the first 3 months when they're a newborn, they're just kind of like, you know, looking around at the world. They don't even really recognize you that much. But the 3 months after, they're really special too. And I was still getting used to motherhood. This is my first baby. I am a new mom. I'm a first time mom. So it was an adjustment period. You know, it was a lot of learning, and I'm going to talk about that in this video, but it's kind of why I took 6 months. Also, I realized before I had Bowden, I was kind of envious of women who are just homemakers and they don't have an online presence. You know, I wanted to kind of just act like an anonymous homemaker, housewife, just home with my baby, soaking everything up, no other responsibilities other than him and my man. And it was really nice. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your patience. I apologize if I've worried any of you. I'm sorry too. I know I took 3 months off for my first trimester with him. So you guys are probably like, what are you doing? We missed the content. And yeah, it's just the season of life I'm in. You know, I'm building my family. These things take a lot of energy, a lot of time. And you guys know, because I've talked about it since the beginning of my channel, these things are a priority to me. It wasn't a bad sign that I was gone. In fact, I think it was a really good sign. But I do want to talk about 3 things I've learned since becoming a mother. I mean, there's hundreds of things, but I thought maybe I'd break it down into like 3 different categories for anyone out there who is going to be a first-time mom, maybe for other moms or people who want to be a mom someday. This is my take, Mrs. Midwest, my take on motherhood after doing it for 6 months. Okay, the first thing, hold everything loosely. Everything. Now, this might not make sense at first, but what I'm saying is hold everything with your baby loosely. You know, you might have the perfect birth plan. Hold it loosely. Things happen. Stuff changes. You know, medical emergencies happen. Hold it loosely. Even with your baby, you know, you might figure out something like with sleep related or feeding or whatever, something they like to do, and then it's gonna change in an instant. They really keep you on your toes. And then also, you know, your expectations for yourself, hold it loosely. You might go into motherhood thinking you're gonna be one certain type of mom and then realize you align with a completely different style of parenting. And that's okay. It's so hard being postpartum. It's so hard becoming a first-time mom because it's a huge learning curve, and you don't need to add a ton of expectations for yourself on top of that. And that is something I had to learn. I was so just mentally bogged down that first month because I had all these expectations. A lot of them didn't work out. You know, have your interests, have your research, have your have your hopes and your plans, but don't put too heavy expectations on yourself or your baby. You know, it might take a while to bond. It might take a while to figure out breastfeeding. It might take a while to sort out your feelings about birth. It might take a while to do whatever, and that's okay. I would also say holding things loosely, like your identity as a homemaker. You know, before this, I had all the time in the world to cook and clean and like make things amazing and do my beauty and all of that. And I just had to kind of hold that stuff loosely. You know, the house gets messy. I need help often. Like, that's why my cousin's here, you know? I've accepted meals from people who've offered to bring them. I've accepted help from people who've offered it. I hold my identity as a homemaker pretty loosely now because I realize I have a lot of extra responsibilities on my plate. So I'm not expecting myself to like wake up at the crack of dawn, make fresh bread, and then, you know, have my baby and I like have the perfect bonding session and tummy time and all this stuff. I've just kind of decided to kind of just be grateful and make each day work however it's going to work. And that means I haven't baked a lot. It means we've had to accept meals. It means I've had to have help, and that's okay. So holding things loosely. And then finally, as far as holding things loosely, when people give you advice, try not to get offended. I've had to learn, you know, most people aren't trying to tell you how to live your life or what to do, even though it feels that way. They ultimately just kind of want to help you. So if you say, oh, my baby is not sleeping, blah, 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 and then they give you their advice, I've just learned to just take it and hold it loosely. Sometimes too, people might say something that's actually really helpful. So I know a lot of people nowadays like to shut down anyone who wants to give advice to a new mom, but I would really say just try to be gracious with people. Most people don't have negative intentions. They actually want to help you. So hold things loosely. Number 2, follow your instincts and ignore the pressure. There is so much pressure, like from the second you get pregnant or even before you get pregnant, from different communities on how to do things naturally, how to be organic, how to do things the healthiest way possible, how to do things the best spiritual way possible. And it's crazy. Like, there's so much information. There's whole Instagram pages dedicated. Oh, he's happily shrieking. He's in his jolly jumper. I'm like, is that a happy cry or an angry cry? I think it's a happy cry. So anyways, there's a lot of pressure out there. There's whole Instagram pages dedicated to like, this is the only way to help your baby sleep. This is the only way to, you know, parent. This is the only way to get things done around the house with a baby, or it's wrong to do this, or it's right to do that. And it's so much pressure. And so in reality, you're not going to know what you're doing as a first-time mom. You're going to figure everything out on the go. You're going to figure out what works for you, and you're going to figure out what works for your specific baby. It might not even work for your future babies. So what I've had to learn is, as much as I want to be the perfect mother, as much as I want to listen to every single person on Instagram who has the secret sauce of how to be amazing as a mom, all I can do is focus on my day-to-day life and love my child and do what feels right for our family. Okay, so I would just really encourage you guys to not get bogged down by all of the information out there. It's so easy to get into like a research black hole, or to feel like you're damaging your child if you're not doing a certain parenting style. But in reality, that can sometimes make you more stressed out and honestly a worse mom in the end of the day. I think kids kind of just need, you know, someone who's present, someone who loves them, who's, you know, doing their best to feed them healthy food, to give them the sleep they need and the love they need. But you don't have to be perfect, okay? So follow your instincts, and note too, your instincts aren't always going to be correct. You could have a feeling about something. You could think you're going to, for example, I wanted to baby wear. I thought it was going to be great. My son hates being worn. He likes to face out. He likes being carried. He likes moving himself. He likes tummy time. He likes just doing things I didn't expect, because he's an individual and his needs and desires and personality isn't perfectly going to fit to what my expectations are. Okay, so sometimes your instincts will be wrong. Sometimes something you desire in motherhood might not happen, and that's okay. A lot of people are going to try to sway you to one thought camp or the other, but we don't have to be so extreme. I've been bullied by the home birthing community online. I've had trolls from the vegan community. I've had trolls from, people who hate Christians, and it's so easy to think you're a bad person because you're living your life in a way that someone else disagrees with. It's really easy. It can be really stressful. And so I just encourage you, follow your instincts. Don't follow the voices of all these aggressive people around you. You guys know this if you've watched my videos. If you've watched the videos from me, and if you know me, you know that I don't believe in bullying people into a certain lifestyle. I really think we need to choose what works for us. And so I just really hope that as you guys are mothers, maybe you're going to become a mother in the future, you don't give in to this really loud bullying, because I've even seen in the traditional femininity community so much pressure on women to be the perfect mother. I think it's tied up in femininity. This might be a topic I'll have to talk on sometime if you guys are interested, but it's because we are interested in femininity, a lot of people feel like then they also have to be this perfect feminine mother, and in order to do that they have to be perfectly all natural, and if they're not all natural, they're this. And you guys know, if you saw my vlog, I think 2 or 3 summers ago, I was crying on camera because I felt like I couldn't even use Windex on my windows without getting trolls in my comment section. It's a whole thing, and it's very complex, and yes, it goes as far as shallow as Windex to something as intense as parenting styles or the way women give birth or whatever, and there's just so much shaming, and I don't agree with that, and that's a huge reason why I don't share a lot of stuff about my perspective on motherhood, birth, child feeding, child sleep, all of that. I don't share that online because I'm not here to shame mothers into what I think is best. And I know that I have influence as a YouTuber, as someone who's talked about things online, but I'm a novice first-time mom. I'm not the person to go to for advice on motherhood practices. I'm learning everything myself. So I kind of keep my opinion to myself, and I just really hope you guys don't feel so pressured. I've seen so much shame around women who have had to get C-sections, or women who, they're unable to breastfeed. And it makes me really, really mad when I see it coming from our own community, traditional femininity. And when you see that, when you see people being really aggressive and negative, unless at women who aren't being this natural, feminine, perfect, traditional mother, call it out. It's not cool. That's another thing I learned, and that's a side tangent, but it kind of goes together with this idea of just pressure, because even I have felt that pressure, and I just can't imagine how it is for everybody else. So I've had to ignore it, and you should too, because you know what's best for your family. You can talk to your husband about what's working, and most of all, look at your baby. Look at what they need, what works for them. Not everything's gonna work for each woman's baby, and that's okay. So hold your expectations loosely, and then ignore the pressure, and don't bully people into a certain lifestyle. Okay, final tip is kind of cliche, but enjoy and be grateful. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. It was a theme on my channel before I even became a mother, but it is even more important now because I had a newborn 6 months ago. Now he's scooting backwards on his belly, and he's playing his jolly jumper, and he recognizes, people, and he's kind of babbling, and that's 6 months. He's so big now. And if I had been wrapped up in something else, I wouldn't have really been there for all those changes. Actually, I didn't have postpartum depression, but I did have what's called the baby blues. And that's a hormonal shift that can happen after birth, and it lasts about 2 weeks. And it's not necessarily associated with being depressed. It's just being very emotional. And every night, I kid you not, around 6:30 p.m. to 7 p.m., around there, I would start tearing up, and I wouldn't be able to stop crying every single night. Someone could be talking to me, oh, okay, can I make you something for dinner? What do you want to eat? And I would be and I'd start crying, and then they'd say what's wrong? Are you okay? And I would say every time, he's only gonna be this little for so long. And it's so cheesy, but I actually cried about that every single night hormonally. because it's so true. Like one night my husband, he's like, go to bed early, 7:30, go put your earplugs in. I got the baby for a bit. And I think he was using the bathroom, and we only have one bathroom on our main floor. So he heard me in our bedroom crying, like sobbing. And he comes in and he says, are you okay? Like, what's going on? And I said the same thing. He's only gonna be this little for so long, and he's growing. And I was crying. And then he said, wait 1 second. And he goes out and he gets Bodhi and he brings him into me. And he was a newborn. Bowden was so, like, you know, he's just a little newborn. And he was just like, you know, looking around, smacking and doing this with his hands. And I was like, you know, like cradling his head, just like crying. And I'm tearing up now thinking of it. But it was just like, I think I just had this profound, because the hormones were helping, but I was having this like profound realization of like, he's going to be just with us for such a short period of time. And I think that's why I took extra time with him. Also, I was a puddle of tears for like the first month due to the baby blues, and then I was also healing. You guys you wouldn't have wanted videos from me. I wouldn't have said anything other than, he's only gonna be this little for so long. I would not have given you any cool advice or told any awesome stories. I was so wrapped up in baby world. But the thing is, I'm past that now, but I still feel that some days where it's just like, I really, you know, want to remember these moments. I want to take my pictures. I am mom to this child. I've seen this quote about dogs before where people say about dogs, to you, they're only part of your world, but to them, you're their whole world. And the same thing is true about babies, you know? To me, he's part of my world, a huge part, but I also have my husband and my home and you guys and friends, and I have this whole life, and I'm an adult. But to him, like, we're his whole world. And so I've just really been dwelling on that, and I've just been with him and obviously enjoying it, but I just can't stress that to you guys enough. Do what you gotta do to just really soak that time in and enjoy. And then also I would say I've had to learn how to be grateful. For example, this morning, 5 a.m. wake up, and it was a false start wake up. He did go back to sleep after a feed, but like, ooh, it's brutal. It's brutal. And I was tempted to feel very angry. I need my sleep. I want to be a functioning mom. And it's hard to wake up early in the morning. But then I was taking him for a walk. I just was holding him, taking him for a walk out in the morning dew, and the birds were chirping and the sun was coming through the trees. And I just realized I got to wake up and my baby's healthy and my baby's with me. And wow, I'm so grateful. Wow, I have a 6-month-old baby. So many people don't even get that. So many people they're trying for a baby or whatever. It just really struck me this morning, and it's just, you gotta be grateful. It makes hard things so much better when you can be grateful. And the thing is, like, having a baby is hard, but there's so much to be grateful for. It's not like something horrendous like cancer or financial problems where it's really hard to find the joy. And my final bonus tip, I did this when I was pregnant, and it worked, so now I feel like I can share this with you guys. Read a lot of blog posts titled, like, things I wish I knew about fill in the blank, like things I wish I knew about birth, things I wish I knew about being a first-time mom, and then also things I wish I would have brought to the hospital, or things I wish I would have bought before having a baby, or things I regret buying, stuff like that. That's where a lot of the juicy information is on like what to bring. For example, I read a blog post that suggested bringing a white noise machine to the hospital, and it was amazing because I was able to get really good sleep at the hospital because, you know, all the beeping, people coming in and out, whatever. But with that white noise machine, I was out and it was great. But I read that on a blog. So that's my bonus tip. Read a lot of blog posts like that. So those are the 3 things I learned. I'm gonna quick wrap up. I'm sorry if I'm just chatting too long. I've missed you guys, if you can't tell. Okay, back to like the personal stuff. Not so much the philosophical Mrs. Midwest chatter about life. I want to tell you, I am doing well physically. It took me a little bit longer to recover, and I was really paranoid about how everything was healing. So I went into the doctor a few times and they were like, looks great, you look great, everything's well. And I was like, okay. I did not have postpartum depression or anxiety, which was such a blessing. I think it was because I had so much help from my husband and my community. My church brought us food for almost 3 weeks. We had dinners. And then obviously we filled our freezer from that. So I didn't have to cook for like 6 weeks. It was crazy. I did film my birth story, and then when I went to upload it on the computer, the audio was not there. And I'm kind of glad because after that, I realized I don't think I want to share my birth story. Not because it was anything like totally horrendous or whatever, but it was just personal. And I kind of want to keep that to myself. But just know a lot of amazing things happened. A lot of hard things happened. I will say his shoulder got stuck, which was one of the scariest moments of my life. Thankfully, the doctors were amazing. Can't sing their praises enough. But the good news is I'm not afraid of giving birth again. Even 2 days after giving birth, I was thinking like, yeah, I could do that again. And I'm really grateful for that, because I know when tough things happen during birth, sometimes people can get really traumatized from it. I don't feel that way. I think it really helps too, having all of your guys' prayers. So yeah, I'm doing well physically and mentally after birth. And also, so the stretch marks, I put grapeseed oil on my belly my whole pregnancy. And I wasn't going to tell you guys like about the pregnancy things I was doing until after, so I could see if it worked or not. And it did, until the last week of my pregnancy. I didn't get stretch marks until the very last week, I think 5 days before he was born. The skin around my belly button was just like, this baby is too big. I really carried out front, like really out front. You couldn't really tell I was pregnant from behind, and it was a huge bump. If you look at my vlog, you can see how pregnant I was the day or 2 days before I gave birth. And so I did get stretch marks, but they faded, and it's just like a little bit of like broken skin, I guess you could say, around my belly button. And so I think the grapeseed oil really did help. I massaged that on my belly starting after my first trimester, after every shower and every night. And so I would recommend that to you guys. That's what I use in my hair. The night before I shower, I put grapeseed oil from, here down. My hair has been really great after birth, and my nails have been really great. I don't know if you guys can see that. I used to have terrible nails. You might remember from my earlier vlogs, but birth was good for my nails. Physically, I'm feeling good. So that's kind of that update. I mean, yeah, part of me wants to share everything, like every last gory detail, and then the wiser part of me knows that's not necessary. All you guys need to know is I had a hospital birth. It was a little bit scary there, touch and go. Baby was just fine. He was a big baby too. They said that, so he was 2 weeks early. They said that if he was born full term, he probably would have been closer to 10 pounds. So I'm glad that didn't happen. Also, I think he has his father's shoulders. My husband has very broad shoulders. And even when he came out as a newborn, the doctor or the pediatrician was like, this baby has big shoulders. That might have been why one got stuck. Who knows? Also, the basement is done. If you've been following along on my vlogs, you know we've been in this horrible renovation black hole for almost a year now, but it's finished. And so I'm going to make a mini vlog. I'm going to show you the basement. You're going to meet my son. I'm very conflicted about putting him online, so I've decided to just put minimal amounts of him online, so you will see him. So many of you sent us baby gifts, which I used a lot of them. Like anything that fit him, it was perfect and lovely. So thank you. Anyone who crocheted us a blanket, I've used them around our house. And yeah, it's just been really lovely. So thank you for all of that. If you do want to send P.O. box mail, letters, I read all your letters. It was so nice being postpartum and you're laid up. You're not really doing much other than feeding your baby and trying to sleep. But I got to read your letters, and it was super encouraging. So don't forget the P.O. box. Get ready for the mini vlog. And yeah, just leave your thoughts below on motherhood and stick together, friends. Just because someone does motherhood differently than you doesn't mean they're not a great homemaker or traditional woman. There's not one way to do things. And if I can say anything as like an advocate in this traditional woman community, stop being so hard on each other. I'm not even all natural, whatever, like that, and I'm happy and fine and thriving, and you don't have to put pressure on yourself. And if you do, if that's your thing, awesome. I support you too, and that's the last thing I'll say on that. But yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in more of this kind of content, in my vlogs, I talk about pregnancy related things. I don't have any other videos talking about motherhood because this is my first time. But I do have a lot of sit-down videos as well. My Q&As kind of have this vibe as well. But I'm going to try to get videos up more frequently. So what do I usually say at the end of these? It's been a while. So I hope you have a wonderfully fresh and feminine week, my beautiful sisters.